And a 1 and a 2, and we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, fellas, I'm back in my office. I'm back live. It's been a little while. We did a video this morning as I adjust my screen right now. We already did a video this morning, right? We got one up. I'm pulling up the comments right now. People hopping in. We did one this morning already out for this slate. Literally went up at like 2.5 hours ago or so as I start this live stream at 11:07 a.m. So if you're watching it later on, I'm not going a full hour. I'm going to come in here, answer any questions because we've had some already big news with Steven Adams going from not playing to now he's just going to be playing. So Nerlens Noel, fantastic. Likely chalk value is now gone. But we've had 50 other chalk options today. Well, not chalk value options today that are going to be fantastic. So it's going to be pretty exciting. If somebody wants to share the link, I'll retweet it on Twitter. I don't really feel like posting it on Twitter, but yeah. So I'm going to answer any questions that people have. I have the projections done. They're out. I just have to update Shabazz Napier. I'll do that after the stream. I'll probably be done with this well before any slate starts. And I'm sure some other news is going to drop because it's already a wet and wild slate, if you will. People get in here right now. Captain options for the OKC game. Help a brother out. Just join the chat. What's going on, Cameron? How you guys doing? How you doing? Barnes are healed. I mean, I'll go Barnes there, but Barnes looks like okay value, but neither of them is really anything that I want to be jumping up and down for on a slate where so much of the value is secured for like 30 plus minutes. Yes, Barnes is going to be your just average terrible fantasy point per minute producer who plays 34 minutes. Healed, you're going to be lucky if you get to 25 minutes out of him today because he's just not playing anymore. I was just watching your last video. Yeah, man. Yeah, be sure to watch that video. Be sure to sign up for Patreon and get the updated projections and stuff. But I haven't streamed in a while. My girlfriend is dropping her parents and her family off at the airport, so I figured I'd come on and stream since the game started at 12:30, and then watch a little bit of golf this afternoon and just chill. Who are you playing from Orlando now? Yeah, Orlando looks good. Vooch looks fantastic. I have it factored right now on my end, my projections. Let me pull up. So Vooch looks fantastic. DJ Augustine, Terrence Ross, James Ennis, they all look good. Gary Clark, if you really want to go there, but I don't think you have to because the value will look good on Gary Clark, point per dollar wise, but the overall fantasy points of 19 that I haven't projected for doesn't look that great. So yeah, Vooch, Terrence Ross, DJ Augustine, and James Ennis all look fine. They all look good. But yeah, lots of value now on this slate. It's pretty crazy. Lots of 6x value. Normally, maybe you get like 2 or 3 guys in the 6x value range. I already have 7 guys at 6x value. Guys are at like 5.5x value, 5.5 fantasy points per dollar, right? There's a lot. I want to say there's like 20 or 18 guys that I have at 5.5x or higher. So this is not a slate where you go, I have this guy projected for 5x. I want to play him. No, I literally have today 55 guys projected for 5x, or is it 53 guys? So you need to sample your player pool down even more than that. I miss these live streams. Yeah, man. I'm going to try and do some more basketball live streams often. I've been traveling the last 10 days or 2 weeks. I went home and saw my family for about 5 days. There was a day in between there where it was kind of adjusting, and then my girlfriend's family came out here for 5 days. So it's been just getting up the videos was something that was a priority. I could not get any live streams out though. Thoughts on TLC? Yeah, TLC is fine. He's too cheap. And the entire Nets team is just going to play 20 to 30 minutes. Will TLC go out there and play 30 minutes again like he did last time? Maybe, right? Will he play as efficient as he did last time? I doubt it. But if he's going to play 30 minutes at 3,900 and he plays less efficient, he's still going to back his way into 20 plus fantasy points, 25 fantasy points more times than not. But he can also go out there and play 20 minutes if he's not playing well and they want to give Jeremiah Martin more run, right? This is not they did this last time against the Bucks. This is what they're going to do this time. No, this is 10 to 12 guys that they're going to throw into rotation today, and they really don't care what's going to happen. At the time they were facing the Bucks, they had not actually clinched the playoffs at that point. They figured they were going to because they were up like 4 with like 5 to play, whatever it was going to end up being. They needed to win one, and another team just had to lose one. But this is a little bit of a different story. Like Jeremiah Martin, Musa, they might let these guys actually run a little bit more. Hall, I don't know if that's true. I have it projected right now for 30 minutes out of TLC, and he looks like a decent value. There's just so much value on the slate that it's really hard to pick between. TLC right now is my 4th best value play in the slate. I have him projected for 23.93 fantasy points. It's a 6.14x value rating. I have him at 0.85 fantasy points per minute today, which is probably well below what he would actually average. I'm not going to be taking his 1.14 or whatever it was that he's had in 40 minutes with all these guys off the court, because that was obviously from one game where he was very hot. He's not going to always shoot that crazy. Morning, Sal with an Adams out. Are you bailing on Noel? Of course, yeah. Do not play Noel. Noel's still like value, quote unquote, but you're not playing him at the same exact rate of locking him in 100% of your lineups. Noel right now is my overall ranked like 27th play on the slate. So even with Adams in, he's still like 27th overall. I just don't want to be playing him now. I still have him projected for 20 fantasy points. But if we get news that Adams is playing his normal run and he's starting, Noel is back to his normal backup role, where $3,900 of Noel at 20 minutes is fine if it's like a 2 or 3 game slate. If it's a slate like this one, you're going to have like 15 to 20 better value options, or at least minutes wise. Sal, I love Patreon. Been winning money every day since signing up. Thanks, man. Hey, Josh. Appreciate it, man. That's all you. I give you some of the help with the research time and some of the tools. You're able to decipher it, put it all in. All you, man. You're building those lines. But yeah, if you guys want to sign up for Patreon, it's linked down below. All the stuff. The projections are all updated except for the Shabazz Napier news right now. We already updated all the news on the Orlando guys. We already updated the Thunder news with Noel now not going to be probably starting with Steven Adams available. But we're just going to have to update the Shabazz Napier news, and I'll do that right after the stream. So as long as people are asking questions, I will continue to stay on. But we see that we have a couple of people in here right now, and more than a couple, 62. So be sure to, if somebody wants to share this on Twitter, I'll just hit it with a retweet. Info on this OKC versus Washington game, fam. Yeah, man, I don't play Showdown, so it's going to be, it just based off my projections is where I would go for the Showdown stuff. I'm not going to be playing Basketball Showdown. Is probably, to be honest with you, like the worst format for DFS. Like even Golf Showdown and NFL Showdown, those are at least a little bit better. There's correlation that you could put there. Unless like you have a bunch of injury news last second, which this Adams news isn't really last second. A lot of the time before that starts. Probably not going to be going there personally. I mean, SGA looks fine. I don't know what these showdown prices are. I'm assuming they're close to the normal prices. SGA looks fine. I prefer him the most out of that entire team probably. Then probably some of Adams and Chris Paul. That's probably where I would go to the most. On the Washington side, you're going to have even more now usage for a guy in Ish Smith, who was already getting the most fantasy points per minute on this team. Now there's no Shabazz Napier for 20 minutes or so in the game. So Ish Smith is locked in, right, to all of his minutes. Troy Brown is locked into 30 plus. Ish Smith is going to be a fantastic play in all formats now. He's going to go from getting like, oh, I feel really good about Ish Smith getting 30 to 32, or let's just say 28 to 30 minutes, to now I feel really good about Ish Smith getting 32 plus minutes. And then you're in a situation 34 plus minutes maybe. And then Thomas Bryant, yeah, a little bit more expensive now, but there's no reason not to go back to him at a 1.2x fantasy point per minute production, where he has a fantastic matchup, staying out of foul trouble, and he continues to just see fantastic rebounding rates and overall usage. Horford or Tice? I will say neither, but Horford if you're forcing me to pick one, but neither is good. Thoughts on Horford? Yeah, I think Horford sucks now. I was a big Horford fan. I think he's not great. So if somebody's out there going, Horford doesn't suck at basketball anymore, obviously he doesn't relative to everybody in the world, and honestly relative to most NBA players. He's still fine, but lots of things have gone bad for Horford this year. If you look at efficiency numbers, if you look at three-point shooting, if you look at just him on the court plus minus, like lots of things are going bad. Obviously, the defensive game is still going to be there for him, but on the offensive side, him being at power forward now for 30 to 32 minutes, he's $6,500. I don't want that. Like Horford is normally like $5,800 to $6,200 when he's consistently starting in this offense, right? Now he's going to be $6,500. I get it, Ben Simmons is out. That doesn't change the fact that the guy can't hit a three-pointer and that Joel Embiid is going to take all of his rebounding rate usage and Tobias Harris is going to take all the stretch three usage for the most part. So, I really don't have interest in Horford. If he was $55,000 to $6,000, yeah, I'd have interest there. But I have him projected for 30.59 fantasy points. And I think I might be high on that projection, and that doesn't even hit like 4.7x, barely at that point. Shake Milton or Derek White? I'll lean Shake Milton there. Which game looks to be the best stackable game? Whichever game has the closest spread and you think goes to overtime. So, I mean, I really don't stack games. I think there's interesting reasons to stack games if you're talking about smaller slates where there's not a lot of games to pick from, so you're hoping one pops off. And obviously higher total games people are going to go to, higher team totals. But then you really just want overtime at the end of the day. It's whichever ones you think might go to overtime. Portland and Philly, they have this 3-point spread. New Orleans and San Antonio, they have that 3-point spread. I got a strong feeling Dame is going to have a big game today after that stuff yesterday. Yeah, I don't even know what happened yesterday. But yeah, if you have a strong feeling about it, go for it. $10,000 Damian Lillard is rarely appealing to me when everybody's healthy. With Nurkic back, with CJ McCollum back, I get it. He can go out and hit 11 threes, which was a career and a record-breaking number, so I'm not expecting that again. But like $10,000 Damian Lillard, how often does he get there compared to $10,500 Giannis, which has been his price recently? $10,500 Luka, which has been his price every time except the last time he just played when he was $11K flat. He doesn't get off that much more. Like Damian Lillard, for him to get to his 50 to 60 point performances, they don't come as often as they're going to for some of those other 10,000 plus guys. So when everybody's healthy on the team, I just don't get there as much. Like Lillard right now is projecting for 5x for me, but it's a slate where 50 other guys are doing the exact same, or I guess he's 4.9x. I have Lillard projected for 49.79 fantasy points. At $10,000, like that's just not going to get there. If I factor my projections right now, let's check what Superdraft is doing. They start later, I think, Superdraft. They're not having all the games on the slate, so it's not really going to matter too much as to how filled this contest is. But Superdraft is currently 2 hours and 40 minutes until lock. Their NBA contest is currently only 27% full, so go over there. But I want to look at NHL because actually baseball. Baseball starts in an hour and 50 minutes. I need to get a baseball lineups in. Superdraft baseball lobby's at only 28% full, with less than 2 hours. But the NHL one is the one that never fills, and they put the prize pool smaller. So never mind. They didn't put a big contest out for the NHL. It's only 42% fill though, and it starts in 40 minutes. So the NHL contest is probably only going to get to 50 to 60% fill at the max today, and it's a GPP. It's guaranteed. It's just crazy. Adam's available now, so Noel takes a back seat, right? Correct. Yes. Harry Giles or Alex Len? I don't want either of those guys. So neither. I would say that Harry Giles and Alex Len probably maybe combined for 30 points today more times than not. Maybe combined for 35, combined, not each. The more I look into it, the more that I looked at what they did in their rotation in the last game, it's not going to be good for the centers. You're playing Houston, who is not going to let you keep a center on the court, even if you wanted to normally. And now you're in a situation where these guys are traditional centers in Alex Len and Harry Giles, right? You're going to have to go out there and get Bielitsa playing a lot of center, right? They're going to play a lot of small ball, in my opinion. And if Kent Bazemore's in, if Corey Brewer's going to get some minutes too, and they're going to play small ball, I just don't have any interest in either of those guys. I would pick Alex Len, especially if he starts, but neither of those guys are going to be of interest to me right now. 2 stud centers or PG today? 2 stud centers or PG today? Or point guard today, you mean? I always prefer to get 2 stud centers, but ones that have power forward eligibility would be great. Is it important to stack in the NBA? No, not as important as other sports. The correlation is not the same. If you want to stack high game totals, that's fine. It's hard to usually do it because of the price points of the studs, like i.e. a Russ and a West and a Harden when they're both on the slate, when Russ isn't hurt, of course. But no, because points are so factored around. Like even if you have the Clippers with a high team total, you rarely see Kawhi and Paul George have gone off together, but you rarely see it to the point where you don't want to be stacking the entire team. You stacked, if you're very sharp playing this and you're playing 150 lineups, you were stacking a team hoping that it goes to overtime. Because if you get those extra 5 minutes out of them and your guys are all on the court and you got 4 or 5 guys in that game getting an extra 4 or 5 minutes apiece, obviously that's where your edge is. Your edge is not stacking the game that has a 3-point higher total than the other 6 games on the slate, right? That's not where your edge is coming from, in my opinion. It's coming from the shorter lines or the games that you think head to overtime. How do you feel about Horford? Had a strong outing with Simmons last game. Yeah, he's 6,500. I don't really like the price. Joe Val or Nurkic on DK. Because of the price, I'll go Joe Val. Marcus Morris, a good value? Not really. Is Van Vliet a good option? I would say not really. What are your favorite plays under 5K on DraftKings? I could list every single guy under 5K at this point because of all the value. My favorite plays under 5K, like today's a crazy day. Like I know a lot of people don't keep up as much as I am, getting up at 5 and spending 2 hours on these minutes, which is just ridiculous for today. But Ben McLemore, Austin Rivers, James Ennis, TLC, Gary Harris, DJ Augustine's under 5K, Musa, Chris Chioza, Ishmet's 5,200, not under 5K, but he's probably one of the best options there. Fultz, JJ Redick, I can just keep going. The entire list, this entire slate, right? Gorgie Deng to an extent, I probably want to go there. Jeff Green, the Anthony Melton, Kyrgios, Nerlens Noel still, but obviously he's far down the list now. There's easily 20 guys under 5K that are going to project out for, maybe not, right around 20. They're going to project out for 5x fantasy points today. It's just nuts. What do we got? Any other news yet? We got 144 of y'all in here. Yo, hit the like button. We just hit 24,000 subscribers. RIP Kobe. Our Kobe era on the YouTubers right now. I appreciate all of you. What's up, Sal? Appreciate you, brother. What's going on, Cody? How you doing, man? Get on that Patreon train ASAP, Cody says. Yeah, man, Cody's always up in it. Cody's an OG. I close off my DMs, but I respond to Cody because he's an OG. Wraps on the front end of a back-to-back. That's fine. I just didn't put any of the back-to-back info in. I don't feel like tracking it for this bubble stuff because it's a lot of teams are playing on back-to-backs now. Who are your top 3 value plays? It's going to depend on what ownership looks like. If you're just talking point per dollar, Ben McLemore, Austin Rivers, and James Ennis, but you obviously don't want to be, I wouldn't be playing all 3 of those guys in a lineup. I probably wouldn't even play 2 of them in a lineup. 2 of them is not terrible if you're trying to play Embiid and Harden or something, but asking for my 3 best value plays is not like any other slate. If this was a 5-game slate where there's a lack of value, yeah, that's important. When this is a 7-game slate where I have literally 8 guys projected for 6x or higher and about 15 to 20 guys projected for 5.5x or higher, all those guys are really good value plays. They're all so close, right? If I change one guy's point projection by 1, he becomes the best value play in the slate instead of the 13th best, right? So that's the difference of 1 rebound, 1 free throw, right? So let's not get too crazy about the names McLemore, Rivers, and Ennis because those names sound disgusting to me. There's a lot of names after that. Not in the value range. My top play on the slate is Harden, and that shouldn't surprise anybody. He averages over 1.8 fantasy points per minute. Not as much as Giannis does normally, though, but Giannis doesn't play 38 minutes a night or 40 minutes a night potentially for Harden in a good matchup against Sacramento, where it's going to be a decent pace spot, one of the better ones on the slate. So, yeah, Harden is the best pay-up spot. You didn't have to tune into this live stream to know that, but I will tell you that. But Joel Embiid is also very good. Those are the two top guys for me tonight on the pay-up options, but Harden by a very wide margin over every other pay-up option. Vooch looks good up there now, especially, I mean, he looked good already, but now with no Fournier, another high usage rate guy, another guy who's on the court for 32 minutes, a lot of those with Vooch. Yeah. DJ Augustine or Terrence Ross? Yeah, so I'll go DJ Augustine, but I have interest in both. I like them both a lot. I have Ross projected for almost 29 fantasy points. I have Augustine projected for 27.2. So it depends on what you're asking here. Do you need value? Augustine's a better value, in my opinion. If you want straight fantasy points and upside, it's Terrence Ross. So Terrence Ross is your better play in a GPP if salary doesn't matter. DJ Augustine is probably your better cash play. That is also a very strong GPP play. Hopefully that makes sense. Does Kawhi and George play all game against a depleted Nets team? I would wager my money that no. I would wager my money that the last time that Kawhi and Paul George, before Kawhi rested in the last game, played together when they each played like 36 to 38 minutes, I would wager a lot of money that they do not play anywhere near that they're not each playing 36 minutes a piece tonight. I projected both Paul George and Kawhi for 32 minutes a piece, and I don't like either of them. And that could be a high number, but I still don't get them, so it's fine. A lot of people hopping in here. What's up, everybody? Lock in DeGrom and Sonny Gray. No baseball talking here. What's baseball? Evan Fournier out opens up ugly value. I mean, if you're talking about Gary Clark being ugly value, yeah, but DJ Augustine and Terrence Ross are not ugly value. Thoughts on Steven Adams news? Sorry if it's already discussed. What's up, Rob? Yeah, no interest in, not no interest. I still have him in a player pool, Nerlens Noel, but the interest from being 100% play to now maybe getting into like 1 to 2% of my lineups, yeah, not as much interest now going to happen for me. Let me put this link in here real quickly. We be live chatting NBA, fellas. We're almost at 200 people in here. What up? Hit that like, hit that subscribe. I'm going to answer all these questions, and I'm going to bounce. Probably going to stay on how long we've been live right now. We've been live for 17 minutes. Probably stay on for like another 13 minutes to a half hour or so. All right. This is looking good. I just got to change right now Napier. Somebody asked me if the projections are updated. Everything's updated for the Magic. Just before I went live, Napier, the news on Napier that he was out. So Napier's the only thing I have to change. I had him projected for 20 minutes. He wasn't an interest. He just now is going to make some other players like Ish Smith, yada. Those types of guys look very, very good. So Ish Smith is going to look even better for me now. I assume Troy Brown looks better for me now. I assume I don't want anything from Isaac Bonga or Jerome Robinson, but their projections will get a little bit better. Jerry Grant probably sees a little bit more minutes, those types of things. Ish Smith, Troy Brown Jr., and Bryant, too many Wizards. Yeah, I would say that's too many Wizards on this slate. I think Ish Smith is completely fine. I think Troy Brown Jr. is completely fine. I like Ish Smith the most, but I don't think you need all three of them, especially because Bryant's not offering overwhelming value. I think Bryant's fine. If you have him in a lineup, he obviously has huge upside, but with the price point coming up, if you're going to get to Wizards today, I would just try and limit it to honestly like one. If you want to get both Troy Brown and Ish Smith, that's fine, but I'm probably just going to take one of them in lineups if I'm like hand building anything. Flash the Knight says, I'm co-signing the Patreon. Yo, everybody get up on the Patreon right now. Appreciate all of you. Appreciate everybody that's enjoying it. Rudy Gay in play today, not for me. Embiid is a top play. Lots of decent power forward / center. Embiid is a very top play. When you have so much value on a slate, and secure value, in my opinion, I know some of it looks disgusting, but when guys like Terrence Ross are going to play 32 minutes, for GPPs, of course, when DJ Augustine is going to play 30-plus minutes, when you can take a shot at the dark at some of these Nets, and you have some decency in understanding where the Nets are going to go with their rotation, and they're going to play 30-plus minutes at $3,000 price points, you just want upside on your upside, right? If that makes sense. Like your top-end plays, the James Hardens, the Joel Embiids, you just take the 55 points they give you, even if it's 5x value, because it's 55 fantasy points when the guys after that are projected for like 47 fantasy points. So, yes, on a slate like this where Joel Embiid is my second highest projected player, only behind Harden, and I have Harden projected for a boatload of fantasy points, 68, but then Joel Embiid is at 56. The next closest guy to Joel Embiid is 7 fantasy points away. The guy after that is 9 fantasy points away. The difference between Joel Embiid and the third and fourth guys is so wide enough that it makes sense to just shoot for the points there if you can afford it. And with all the value on today's slate, you can definitely afford it. If Joel Embiid goes out there and has his normal games where he's scoring with no Ben Simmons, 1.65x fantasy points per minute, and he gets you close to 60 fantasy points. And Harden just does what he does normally, which is score 60 fantasy points. And now maybe he scores 70 to 80, which is normally what he does, and gets close to that when Russell Westbrook is not out there. You can be damn sure they're going to be in winning lineups, unless somebody like Damian Lillard pops up for 70 or Kawhi goes for like 60, right? They're going to be in a lot of winning lineups, or at least they're going to be in a lot of high placing lineups. So yeah, Joel Embiid is a very top end play for me today. Risky to fade Harden today? Yeah, I don't want to fade Harden. I have no interest. Harden is projected for 12 more points than anybody else I have on the slate. Look, you all know Harden's a fantastic play, right? And if you don't count Joel Embiid, I have Harden projected for 19 more fantasy points than anybody else on the slate. 19 more fantasy points if you don't count Joel Embiid, but 12 more than Joel Embiid. So I'm going to get 100% Harden. Yes, if James Harden gets in foul trouble, if he shoots his worst shooting performance, yes, of course that's bad luck at that point, right? The play today, in my opinion, is James Harden. I don't care how owned he is. He's not going to be owned high enough when I get 100% of him, because James Harden is probably going to come in today somewhere around 50 to 60% owned. If you think he gets in foul trouble, right? If you think he just has a bad shooting night, then go ahead and fade him. But I'm just going to bank on the fact that more times than not, when Russell Westbrook is not on the court, James Harden scores 60 plus fantasy points. And at this price point, at 11,300, he just needs to score me 60. He has to have a bad game, a bust game on my projection, right? If my projection comes through, he's going for over 6x value. It's crazy. So yeah, I'm not fading Harden. I get the logic of being like, oh, 60% of the field, 50% of the field, whatever it's going to be is going to be on James Harden. I assume it's over 50%. It would have to be, in my opinion. But if James Harden was 12,500, I would still probably have close to 100% of him on this slate. So he's way too cheap. Looking to fill a power forward spot, Marcus Morris or Jeff Green? Jeff Green, but both seem gross there. You can do way better, in my opinion. Thomas Bryant or Joe Val? I'll go Joe Val there in GPPs, but no. Well, let's go Thomas Bryant in anything. Best power forward on the Sal, do we need to worry about back-to-backs? You can if you want to. I'm not going to as much. Sal, Harden and Embiid or Harden and Harris? Harden and Embiid. Best GPP plays today. Watch back this entire stream and watch back the video I posted this morning. I mean, I'm not going to just sit here and name like 50 guys that are in a player pool. That's what I do on the morning videos. Dame time after those tweets, he can go off. Yeah, I'm not going to probably get there as much. Hit the like button, people. Appreciate that, Mike. Thank you. Old man Rudy Gobert is still in play at 5.4K. Yeah, I don't think Rudy projected out that well for me. His minutes are all over the place. I have Rudy Gobert projected for 25.5 fantasy points, so not looking too good. Not looking too good there. Not looking too good. Nurkic or Embiid? 4 best players from the Houston versus James Harden. James Harden, De'Aaron Fox, Bogdan Bogdanovic, and probably Ben McLemore, as long as he starts again. Sal the GOAT. What's going on, King? Thoughts on Alex Len? Yeah, no interest. The more I look at it, I don't know if Alex Len's going to touch 18 minutes of play today. This Houston team is just terrifying for centers, right? They just run you off the court. Alex Len is as traditional as it gets. If Alex Len starts, you can feel a little bit better about that. But there's a really good chance that a lot of this game goes to just small ball. Bielitsa at the 5. Corey Brewer at the 5. They want to do that, Sacramento. So, yeah, I want to, like, if I put 20 to 24 minutes for Alex Len, he's going to pop up in way too many of my lineups and obviously everybody on Patreon. And I don't feel confident in that number. The number 20 to 24 can be just as likely as the number 12 to 14. So for me, with all the value that's on this slate today, I don't feel the need to get to Alex Len. If he goes out there and he plays 20 minutes and scores 25 fantasy points, so be it. But I think there's a more likely scenario where Alex Len plays, let's say, 15 minutes. Harry Giles plays, let's say, 15 minutes. And the final 18 minutes of the game, they go small ball. Bielitsa. Maybe Corey Brewer picks up 5 minutes at the 5, right? So Alex Len at 15 minutes, yeah, I don't want that. Or 12 minutes, yeah, I don't want that. Jeff Green or Noel, honestly, I'll go Jeff Green there now, but I think there's way better value at this point. Smash the like button, says Cody. Appreciate that. 200 in here, only 30 likes. Yeah, you can hit it. 217 people in here. What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Y'all chilling? Hey, y'all chilling? Where we at? What up? No Len, Mo money. Don't know what that means. Sal's the go. What's up, man? Sal, Aaron Rodgers for the dub? Yeah. Aaron Rodgers today. For sure. All right, get your questions in. I'm going to do about two, three more minutes. I like that we got a lot of people in here. Slate starts in, an hour? Cool. Is Zion in play? No, I projected Zion for 24 minutes, and I don't even know if he'll play that many, and he's not in play. Lonnie Walker, question mark. Been playing terrible in the bubble. 30 minutes was nice to see out of Lonnie Walker, but man, this guy's just really, really struggling when he's on the court. If this wasn't a bubble and they weren't out of it, this man would not be playing right now. And I like his upside, but I have Lonnie Walker projected for 22.3 fantasy points. It makes Lonnie Walker like my 50th best play in the day, something like that. Let me look. Let me get you the exact number. We have to subtract 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from anything that I do because I got some headers on this stuff. Lonnie Walker's my 37th best play if you're talking point per dollar. Holiday or McCollum? McCollum. Not high on either of them, though. Milton or D. White? That's a good question. I'll go based off of my rankings, as I should. I will be going... Why is this? I'll go Derek White there. Nah, I'll go Milton there. Gary Trent Jr. thoughts? Yeah, Gary Trent Jr. is going to play a lot of minutes. I like the value in other places with Trent Jr.'s price point coming up. I'm not going to get to any Gary Trent Jr. today. Favorite net value? Every single one of them. Like the net value is just hard to really put any confidence behind. TLC, Musa, Chioza, they're all going to stand out as fine plays. You can go down to Kuros if you think he actually starts to produce. Garrett Temple's appropriately priced, but it doesn't mean he can't play 32 minutes at high usage, right? So I'm just mixing all the nets values in. There's no favorite net for me. If I had to really pick one, it would be TLC because he's $3,900, and he's probably going to be one of the highest usage players in the team and play 30 minutes or so. We think, right? Best value in the nets, yeah, there's like no best value. Like for me in my model, it's TLC, but then all these nets are bunched up. Musa, Chioza, they're all bunched up there. Those would be like the guys, and then Kurus, kind of Temple. There's just so many of them. I think Jeremiah Martin can win somebody a GPP today, but it's going to be a very low percentage of the time. Very, very low. But if Jeremiah Martin plays 25 to 28 minutes today, he's probably winning somebody a GPP, in my opinion. If it's closer to 28. But there's a really good chance he only plays 20. So that's the obvious risk. You're the man, Sal. Enjoy the shows. Thank you, man. I love Hield tonight. Hope he's low on. Yeah, I mean, the issue with Hield is he just doesn't play. They're just not giving him any minutes. Like Hield, they're not letting him play more than 24 minutes. There's an issue there with the coach and him, and he's just not playing. What do we got? What's going on? Yeah, thanks, no problem. Favors or Bielitsa? I'm going to go Bielitsa there because I think there's a lot of upside if he plays a lot. Best small forward value. If you're talking FanDuel, I don't really cover FanDuel at all. Most fantasy points in your opinion. Bryant or Fox? Most fantasy points in your opinion. I have Fox projected for 42.61. I have Thomas Bryant projected for less. So Fox I have projected for more. Target the New Orleans versus San Antonio game more or Houston, Sacramento? I'm not like targeting a specific game more. I'm going to get like 100% of James Harden and a good amount of Bogdan, Bielitsa a little bit, Fox, Ben McLemore. So I'll naturally get to Houston and Sacramento, but I'm not purposely trying to. It's just what's happening from my model stuff. What's Sacramento big man tonight? DK. I don't want any of them. Bielitsa, if he starts. Bielitsa is going to play a lot of minutes at the 5, I would assume, or somebody else other than those big men. Are you taking all the value, Nets, Noel, Ennis/Dort, and jamming in high-end guys, or taking 2 values and balancing the rest? I'm playing 150, so I'm doing a little bit of both, but I'm going stars and scrubs. On this type of a slate, when there's going to be 5 to 10 value plays that pop off for like 6x value. There's going to be guys scoring 30 points in the 3 and 4K range, 40 points maybe. So when that happens, and there's going to be, since there's so many options, that's the nights where Harden and Embiid lineups, or whoever the top 2 scorers on the expensive guys, I assume it's going to be Harden, and more than likely Embiid more times than not. So I want stars and scrubs. You don't need to go 3 stars and all the worst scrubs in the world, because then obviously your bust rate is way higher at that point. I want the secure scrubs based on my model, based on my projections that I like a lot, and then obviously the studs. So yeah, it's just naturally stars and scrubs. Jaylen Brown, nah, he's just a man play. He's not terrible, but nah. Are we chasing waterfalls playing TLC? Yeah, some will. He's $3,900, so if the guy's going to play 30 minutes and be $3,900, he's not going to be as efficient as he was last time, so don't expect 30-plus fantasy points out of TLC. Like, I have TLC projected right now for 23 fantasy points, right? So that's what you should be expecting, and that would be a very good performance, 6x, right? But expect TLC more times than not to go out there and play 30 minutes and do something like that. But he's also not a star player in this league, so he can go out there and shoot 2 of 10 and get you 18 fantasy points. But if he's going to be out there for 30-plus minutes, that's the case. But there's no guarantee. That's what I'm saying with these Nets players. You're at a point where they clinched. They can put Jeremiah Martin out there for 25 minutes. They can put him out there for 35 minutes, and then TLC gets 18 minutes. Chris Chioza gets 35 minutes, and then they put Garrett Temple out there for 20 minutes, right? They can do that if they want. There's no guaranteeing anybody's minutes in this Nets game. It is basically a summer league game today for them. The reason that it wasn't as much so with Milwaukee, even though it kind of was still, was because they still hadn't clinched. They still need to technically clinch. Those guys are obviously going to play their hearts out, right? They don't get this much time to play 30 minutes in a game. But there's a little difference between now and nothing matters at all, right? Alec Burks, interest or just go Augustine? I'd rather Augustine, but Burks is fine. Augustine's way better, but Burks he's going to be in a player pool for me probably. Landry Shamet for value if Kawhi sits? No thanks. Is Noel still good even though Adams is available? I would not play. I put it this way. I was going to play 100% Noel. Now I'm going to play maybe 1% Noel. Now I just fade him completely. What do you think of Zach Collins? So Zach Collins, if Hassan Whiteside is in, I'm not going to get any Zach Collins either way. Let's leave it at that. Thoughts on Zubac? Yeah, Zubac's in a player pool for me right now. Good matchup. Going to play 20-plus minutes. He's okay, but he's not a yes. So let's put it this way. My projections, I have guys listed as yeses or maybes or nos. I currently have 16 yeses, and then I have after that 55 total players. 16, I have like 30-something nos. Or 30-something maybes, and then 16 yeses. So that's what a player pool for me is. The yeses are obviously guys I feel more confident in. Guys that I would want more of in a GPP. Guys that I feel more confident playing in cash, if you play cash still. Those types of things. But I think it's about time to bounce. So if you want any other questions answered, you can leave a super chat right now. And before I leave for the final minute or two, I just wanted to get on here quickly, update some things, and just do a stream because I think they're fun. And then, you can sign up Super Draft. The lobby right now for the NHL is about to fill or about to close. NHL starts in 20 minutes, and their main contest there is only 45% full. Baseball starts in, baseball is really going to be good today because there's a decent prize up top. Baseball is only 33% filled with an hour and a half left with a decent prize of $2,000 prize pool. Then NBA right now is, you still got a lot of time for NBA. It's hard to tell, but it's only going to come in at 29% full. So be sure to use promo code SAL. Let them know you came from me. Sign up for Patreon, updated projections, all that stuff. I'm going to go update this man, Shabazz Napier. Best of luck, everybody. Get that money. Appreciate you. Appreciate you too. Appreciate you too. Cash plays. Cash plays just factor my projections by value, and then that's where you get the cash plays. I don't play cash, but obviously you just want the best value plays in cash. Having a combination of value plays plus high point producers, so not just all the 4K value guys, obviously, right? All right, I'm about to bounce. Yes, I think SGA is definitely in play. Chris Paul, a good play. He's fine. He doesn't stand out. Alrighty. Peace out, gang. My player pool is 72. Too many? Probably.